Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Elizabeth Austin, welcome to Popternative. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Peter. Happy to be here.
It's good to see you again, Elizabeth. We spoke last year. It's crazy. I mean, you're reprising your role as Mrs. Claus Carol. When does it start kind of sinking in and you start thinking about whether you will maybe reprise this character? Is it a little bit after Santa Claus 2? Is it more recent? Like, I'm curious about that.
So recent. So I genuinely thought we were done after Santa Claus 3. I really felt like that was kind of it. It was like, okay, that's that. And it's beautiful and I'm proud of it and all those things. So I don't think it was, I think in my secret childhood heart of hearts, I kind of hoped, but I would never have expressed that out loud, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it does. Absolutely.
Right? It would have been that thing that you don't dare to say out loud because you're like, well, you know.
But you always think about it. It's like you want to see a continuation. You want to see what happens. Perfect segue. Austin, I mean, I think this is really cool that we can kind of dive in now to the world of Santa Claus's family. I think that's kind of a territory that we don't see often. So kind of simple question. What is the mindset like knowing that you're going to be playing one of Santa Claus's kids? Like, I'm curious about that.
It's a big burden, but it's such a fun one because, yeah, it's exactly, it's a story that isn't told that much and one that makes so much sense to be told.
Yeah.
And to be a part of it and be the son, it's so much joy, and because it's my favorite holiday too. So we're diving into like the ins and outs of the family and the whole dynamic, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Absolutely. Elizabeth, we kind of dive back into, you know, Santa's workshop and everything. Last time you came on the show, we talked about that as well. Like,
it's so cool, right?
Did it feel, was it so cool just getting back there and kind of seeing everything again?
Heaven. Like, honestly, I walked back on and I was like, oh yeah, this is my world. I did have that. Of course I had doubt. Everybody does. And actors in particular are the worst. But I had that thought of like, gosh, am I going to remember how to do this? The minute I walked on set, I was like, oh yeah, there it is.
Absolutely. And Austin, it's interesting too, because I feel like for you as an actor coming on this project, it's very interesting because there's familiar territory and unfamiliar territory. We know Tim Allen as Santa Claus. We've seen the movies, but this is the Santa Clauses, right? It's a whole different world and everything. Do you think about that at all? Where it's like new, but it's at the same time, it's like a little old school as well. Do you think about that blend?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, just working with all the references and the cameos, because I was a huge fan of these films. So like I knew all of them and I picked up on the little cues. Mm-hmm. And it was fun to not only take what we knew from all the past films, but we're also building off of them, like making many references, making jokes, using old props and all that kind of stuff. And it's great.
You guys approached it with so much reverence, right? I mean, that's the best I can say. That's because they both came in, both Austin and Elizabeth came in so respectfully, so excited, so incredibly, like, absolutely just listening and curious and waiting and professional. And they were just a gift. I loved him from the minute I met him. And the first time he laughed at one of my jokes, like, we were good.
So we want to make sure we're doing it right.
Absolutely. The first 2 episodes are premiering November 16th on Disney Plus. The Santa Clauses. Elizabeth Austin, thank you so much for your time. It was so great chatting with you.
Thank you, Peter.
Well done, you. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.